Hi, welcome to the pursuit of the truth. And just going on the last few podcasts, I was still thinking about how do we change things and the futility of thinking like that, and whether we're stuck. You know, there's no way of making these changes because we don't have the power. We don't have enough people that think this way, that think about all the suffering that's going on, the system that we live within, whether there's a better way of existence than the one that we have. Most people, because we're all schooled exactly the same, unless you have that woke moment where suddenly triggers your mind to think about, wait a minute, let me just examine everything that I believed and understand where it all came from and what it all means and whether it's all true or not. Unless you have that moment, which 7 billion people haven't had, and I don't know how you'd make 7 billion people all have that woke moment, as it were, to sort of reevaluate how things are and whether it is the best for everyone, whether it's enough that to just say we can't care about all those people that are suffering. And then I think about, well, yeah, I mentioned lots of examples to do with sexuality, to do with racism, to do with abolition of slavery, women's rights, and etc., that they have made these changes within the system. But the thing I'm talking about is so major, it's a rewriting of the system. But then I was thinking about, do we need to rewrite the whole system? We still need things like hospitals, we still need things like schools, because education is the most important. It's just we have to educate truth rather than illusions, or illusions that don't work. And then we need a lot of the infrastructure that we need. What is the problem? What I was thinking of, the two things that are the main problem is money, because that holds us back from helping one another, because everyone wants more money than the other person. And then the other thing is ownership, that division of countries and etc. Because whilst you still have this idea of power and ownership, which we get from birth when we're given birthday presents and Christmas presents, because then we get this idea of having something that is ours. That's where it stems from, and eventually it turned into people carving up the land that we were all given freely and giving it names and giving it passports and giving it borders and all that kind of thing. So our freedom, like the story that I wrote, The Man, order to freedom is what happened. We were once free to do everything, and now we had this order, everything's written down, rules are made, and then that's where the order to freedom comes, and we don't really have this freedom, and we can't help each other because I'm in my little bubble is England, and someone else's bubble is America and Russia and North Korea and Spain and whoever else, and there'll be, because they have different political persuasions, there'll be people you can help, people you can't help, people are friends, people are not, just like the schoolyard, and exactly the same is multiplied throughout the world that we live within. How stupid is that we're still playing like children? We're playing games, but with each other's lives, that people are suffering and dying because we're stubborn to change the system, or it's going to take time, or you have to have debates and papers, and look how slow it is to change everything. Look at Brexit. It took like 5 years to just do these changes. Imagine the thing I'm talking about, getting rid of money. How would that happen? How would you get countries that are rich to suddenly say, okay, we're going to get rid of money, we're not going to do that anymore, we don't have to have those constraints anymore, we can help each other, because all the resources were given to us freely, so why should we charge for them? Water was given to us, air was given to us, everything. We woke up in this place. We're born to this place. We don't know how we got here, what the origins are. The religious stories give you some explanation, whether they're true or not, or whether they're made up, and etc. Who knows? But the fact is, we don't 100% know that. And nevertheless, everything is given to us freely. No one can really say that this land is yours. No one can really wave that flag and believe that this is England and this is Spain and this is Africa and this is Asia. It's not really yours. It's all of ours. We're all equally born on this planet, and we're all human beings. It's like saying a lion only owns this part of his land. No, we all own everything. So I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe it would be enough if we could get rid of money and this idea of power, division, ownership, really. You know, this idea of that this little bit is all you have to worry about. And this permeates down to families and etc. and towns and all that, and councils. We need maybe it's a different way of looking at existence, a different way of looking at how we can live. Now I think that's starting to happen, because before we didn't see all these things that are happening, because we didn't have social media, we didn't have all this connectivity that we can see exactly what's happening anywhere in the world. So maybe it's starting to happen, but that's what needs to happen, this idea first of how we look at each other, how we view each other, how we allow suffering to take place all the time, and how once that's taken, then we get rid of money, and then we get rid of this idea of divisions. Yeah, countries can still have their names, but it doesn't mean that we can't help each other. You can have your identity if you really need it, although that identity is usually a constraint. Your identity is you're a human being. All the other things are illusionary or man-made concepts that you've adopted through hundreds of years that were nothing to do with you. And that's the other problem. A lot of our rules that we believe in, a lot of our teachings, a lot of our understandings, a lot of our systems are based on people that died thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago. I mean, would you let them come up with an idea now? You wouldn't, would you? So why are we living by those old-fashioned ideas, what I call the old ways? We need new ways. We need people now to look at the world as it is and think, wait a minute, how can we run this now? Is this the best way, our system that we've inherited from our forefathers from 100,000 years ago? You know, that's the systems that we're living on. The system of money came from there. You know, that idea and the idea of ownership, when we used to have, this is my country, and I would send a ship out and I'd go and kill a lot of people, wars, you know, taking over land, colonization of land and all that kind of stuff. That's all caveman kind of thinking, but we're not like that anymore. So we need to think that, wait a minute, we've adopted some of those cavemen thoughts and we need to eradicate those. And one of those is money. One of them is the allocation of land and division and not seeing each other as human beings and not helping each other as human beings. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. I don't know how we're going to make that happen. Hopefully enough people will listen to this, pass this on, and eventually the young generation will pass it on, and it will just happen organically. I mean, that's the only thing I can hope for. I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime or many lifetimes to come, but it has to happen, or otherwise the alternative is we allow the suffering of people to continue, and that just doesn't seem very fair or very humane. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.